All right, Dan Geltrude is here, Geltrude Company. We got Wang also here with Constellation Research. You know, Dan, looking at this, people forget that, right? That the fact of the matter is, no matter how you feel about, paying government contractors a $15 minimum wage, taxpayers will foot the bill for that. That's just the reality, right?
Yes, it is. Basically, what Joe Biden is saying is, I am not interested in getting competitive pricing from vendors that are going to be doing business with the federal government. We want to pay more. Now, the government doesn't have their own money, as you said, Neil. That is coming out of the pockets of the taxpayers. So I just don't understand why there are people that don't understand the economics of this. How does it make sense that the government is saying we want to pay more for services? Beyond me.
Ray, do you, when you look at that, Ray, and the fallout there, obviously the president is doing this and making good on a campaign promise, but, the wind at his back is this improving economy, and that a lot of employers have had a devil of a time finding workers right now. We're going to talk to one who is quite famous when she was encountering, a double standard in terms of who gets what, kind of treatment by the government, a state government. But the fact of the matter is, he's got room to do this right now, doesn't he?
He does. We've got a labor shortage, but what that's going to do is double. It's going to increase 30 to 50% government contracting costs. And more importantly, it's also going to lead to a lot more automation across the board when people can't afford to pay that $15 an hour wage. Plus, it's also not adjusted for geographic disparities. A wage $15 an hour in California versus $15 an hour in Montana might be very, very different in terms of the employment economics that small businesses will have to face. So this creates a very interesting disparity there. Plus, all signs here is like we're just buying votes. We're buying corporate votes, we're buying small business votes, and now we're buying government and government union votes.
In the meantime here, we've got this census out now. Every 10 years we go through this, and some of the early results are that some big blue states are going to lose representatives in Congress, and some big growing red states are going to gain. It's hard to say and quantify everything, but what we can see, Dan, is that Republicans could pick up to 5 seats even before the election here on the notion that there's been a pattern shift here. So Texas gains 2 seats. States like California, New York lose 1. Florida picks up 1. Montana picks up 1. North Carolina 1. And I'm just wondering, maybe this could explain the administration and Democrats' rush to get stuff like, a higher minimum wage for federal contractors, rush infrastructure through a Family Recovery Act, through, strike when the iron's hot. What do you think?
I think that's definitely part of it. There's no question about the fact that the Biden administration is racing to try to get things done prior to things potentially changing in 2022, Neil. But, this really highlights the whole migration in the United States. One, we see that every single vote in Congress really matters because things can come down to a single vote. So that shift has a huge impact. But the bigger picture on the business side is, what are we seeing? We're seeing states competing for population because they're offering better deals. Lower or no taxes is the way to have people and businesses come to your state, and you benefit economically and politically.
I want to switch gears real fast for a breaking news development. We were expecting this, Ray, but the CDC is saying that fully vaccinated Americans can go ahead and not wear masks outdoors except in crowded settings. Now, they didn't define what crowded is, but I'm just wondering what you make of this.
No, I think that's really important. I think the science has been showing that for some time. It's good that the CDC is actually following the fact that being outside and not having to wear a mask makes a lot of sense, especially when you're not crowded with other individuals. I think it's going to help with restaurants. It's going to help with the service employees. And it's also going to help with the states that have opened up. It should also be a good lesson for the states that have been locked down for quite some time to see what can work, right, as people open up and taking that fear factor out with some of those masks that are required.